We do a lot of Android dogfights in the phone dog house, but in reality, that's because there are a ton of Android devices that are out on the market. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and they're a little bit behind in terms of device releases, but the Nokia Lumia 928 and the 920 put Nokia in a flagship role on the nation's two largest wireless carriers. Which one's the best? Is it the Lumia 928 or is it the 920 with its different colors? I'll find out in Phone Dog's full dogfight, which starts right now. Over the past 6 months or a year, we've done a ton of Android dogfight battles, and the reason why, when you really boil down to it, there's just a ton of Android devices out there on the market. You know, you look at Windows Phone or iOS or BlackBerry, any of the smaller players in the market space, and for every one device they release, it's like 32 Android phones. They're all high-end, they all have great specs, they've all got beautiful builds, they've all got 4G LTE, they're coming to every carrier, etc., etc. And so it's been a lot of Android-themed dogfight battles. But Windows Phone 8 deserves some love for a couple of reasons. One, because it's significantly better in a lot of ways than Windows Phone 7. Two, because you've got the Windows Phone 8 pioneer Nokia working hard to get their flagship devices available on multiple carriers. That's the case right here. It's a dogfight battle between the Nokia Lumia 928, which just launched on Verizon Wireless, and then you have the Nokia Lumia 920 over here, which has been out for a few months on AT&T, but still by all means considered a flagship Windows Phone 8 device, and was the flagship Nokia device just prior to this. Now, Nokia has worked hard, and they're finally succeeding in getting a flagship device available on a bunch of different carriers. The Lumia 928 just came out, the 920 has been out for a while on AT&T, and the 925 is coming very soon to T-Mobile. So while they're different in terms of design and marketing and things like that, slightly different specs, overall, it's nice to see a flagship Nokia Windows Phone make its way to 3 of the nation's 4 largest wireless carriers. It's a battle between brethren here because the Lumia 928 and the Lumia 920, when you really get down to it, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two devices. Sure, the design is different, but kind of the same elements here. Volume rocker over on the the right side, power button over here, camera shortcut button. Up top, you've got your 3.5mm headphone jack, micro SIM card slot, micro USB charging port, noise canceling microphone. Then over here, nothing. On the back with this one, the 928, you do get an 8-megapixel camera with a Xenon flash. Over on the 920, a little bit of a different design language, and this comes right now at AT&T in 5 different colors, and we'll talk quickly about pricing. $100 here gets you the Lumia 928. $100 over here gets you the Lumia 920. It does come in 5 different colors: blue, black, red. Let me think. Blue, black, red, yellow, and then I'm forgetting one. Blue, black, red, yellow, and one that is slipping my mind. White. Blue, black, red, yellow, white. And then over here you've got very similar specs. Now both of these have dual-core 1.5 gigahertz Snapdragon S4 CPUs. You'll see that the button placement on the Lumia 920 exactly the same as the Lumia 928. The only difference here, you've got your charging port at the bottom instead of up top, and then up top you've got your 3.5mm headphone jack centered and your micro SIM card slot over here on the left. Both have 4G LTE capabilities, both have 4.5-inch HD displays, both have 8-megapixel cameras, though like I said, the 928 does have a Xenon flash, whereas this one does not have a Xenon flash. They're both fantastic cameras and do a great job of capturing low light images, which we'll talk about in part 2. But design-wise, they look pretty similar. So what's different, you ask? Well, there are a couple of things that are different. But first of all, we're going to take a look and see what comes out of the box on both of these devices. Now, I've installed some applications as I've been working with these, and I'm on a 30-day challenge with the Nokia Lumia 920. So this is actually my personal device right now. So you can see some applications that I've installed as I've kind of gotten used to it and settled in. I just started yesterday, so you may not see all the applications that you see at the end of a 30-day challenge. But American Airlines, for example, and you know, this is something we'll talk about a little bit later in the video, but when it comes to Windows Phone 8 versus Android or iOS, they really have got to continue work on making these apps fleshed out and making them as good as their iOS and Android counterparts. Because using American, for example, their app is crap on Windows Phone 8. Not my favorite at all. It needs a ton of work. It doesn't even have the new logo. Compare that to the iOS app, the Android app. Very well fleshed out because obviously they're appealing to a larger demographic. More people are using that application. So I'd love to see more work done in the apps department just to remain competitive. Then there are some applications like CNN that looks great. And then over here on the Verizon side, you get the DataSense application, which is quite useful. And it used to be a Verizon exclusive, but it is coming to T-Mobile's Nokia 925, which breaks that Verizon exclusivity. Or I should say, at least it was on the prototype unit that I was working with. We may not see it on the retail device. So take that with a grain of salt. get more out of your data. We'll talk a little bit about this really quickly here. DataSense is a nice application because it allows you to have a look at an overview of what you use your data for. So, for example, on this device, usage is app downloads, streaming media, people, and you can go down and see how many applications use data and exactly how much data they use, which is a really nice feature. And you can, of course, set your monthly reset allowances. So you've got 5 gigabytes of data and your bill cycle resets on the 19th. You can set that up over here in the settings and say, hey, you know what? My limit is monthly. My reset date's the 2nd, and my units are 5 gigabytes, or my monthly allotment is 5 gigabytes per month. Then I can see I've got that much remaining, and my limit will reset in 3 days. Man, I can't believe it's already almost June. Then over here, AT&T stuff, code scanner, family map, navigator, radio, of course, and then some stuff that you see that I've installed, and then the typical Windows stuff over on this side. We'll scroll over and take a look. You've got, of course, Xbox games. You've got help and tips. Then you have the Nokia stuff on both of these devices out of the box. And those are here, formerly known as Nokia Drive and Nokia Maps. It's now called Here City Lens, Here Drive Beta, Here Maps, and more. And you got that over here as well. Now Nokia's got every hand in the Windows Phone 8 platform possible. So it's really important that these devices are successful, because if they screw up with Windows Phone 8, they're pretty much out of luck. They're either going to be most likely bought out or they're going to fail. So they've got a ton invested in the Windows Phone 8 ecosystem. They want this to be successful. And as a result, when you look at a device like this, the 928 or the 920 versus the AT by Samsung, or perhaps some of the other Windows Phone devices, the 8X by HTC, you've got a nicer value proposition all around here with Here City Lens, Here Drive, Here Maps, where you can come in here, and one of my favorites is Here City Lens, which we'll take a look at on the Lumia 920 since we looked at DataSense over here. So I'll start this up, and you get it on the 928 as well, but it's fantastic for when you're traveling through to a different city. So I can say, I'm going to LA tomorrow for meetings. So I land in Los Angeles, and I can explore Los Angeles. If I weren't in meetings all day, I'd say, where do I want to eat and drink in Los Angeles? And I can come in here and I'll calibrate my compass. And then as you can see, it brings up a bunch of different places for me to eat. And just as I scroll around, it gives me the option. So it's a real-time kind of, hey, Boston Market is right over there. Fatty's Bistro, right over there. Fatty's, actually. Dairy Queen, right over there, etc., etc. And then, of course, you can turn it into portrait mode and see those in a nice list format. So it's great for shopping, great for hotels. If you land in the city and perhaps your plane's delayed or your flight's canceled and you need a hotel room for the night, great to have that on the device. And again, it's free out of the box. Now over on the AT&T side, you get stuff, like I said, like mobile TV, my AT&T, and of course the plethora of stuff up top. Over here you get my Verizon Mobile, you get all the Nokia stuff, Drive and Beta and Music, and these apparently have not been updated just yet. So we'll take a look at the store. Those have been since updated to here. And what I like about this, and we'll talk about the camera in part 2, but if you've watched any of my Windows Phone stuff, you know that the lenses don't typically come out of the box. So when you go into camera, and I'm going to skip around here just to show you what I'm talking about. Go into camera, for example, on the Lumia 920, and you can see your lenses. All you have is Bing Vision. So you don't have an option out of the box on the Lumia 920 to shoot panoramic shots, for example. Not saying the camera can't do it, it's just not there out of the box. You have to go into Microsoft Store and download the panorama lens. So basically you're downloading an attachment or an add-on to make that lens work. Nokia finally got a little bit smarter, and I brought this up in countless meetings. I was like, that's a terrible strategy for newcomers to the platform. Terrible strategy when people get on the platform and think, why can't my phone do panorama shots? Well, on the Lumia 928, they're all there out of the box. So you can do Cinematograph, Panorama, Smart Shoot, all out of the box without downloading those from Microsoft Store. And of course, we saw some nice camera previews on Nokia Lumia 925 as well. Well, that Amber update is going to roll back to the Lumia 928 and the 920. So if you like that smart camera application, you're going to get it on both of these devices as well. So don't feel like you're missing out just because you get perhaps an older Nokia Lumia device. So of course, like I said, typical carrier stuff installed there. Let's take a look at the keyboards here. Now this is particularly interesting as well, and it just goes to show you that depending on which device you have, they can be a little bit different. But before I do that, I want to take some time from the Dogfight to thank our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like the Lumia series for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. It's our game where we just turn around and give you the phones for free. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile to get this, the 920, whatever, they'll help you pick the carrier that's right for you because they're unbiased. Whether it's Verizon, AT&T, they're not on commission, they're not pushed to sell a particular device over another one. Verizon, AT&T, they'll help you find what's best for you and get you walking out the door, not only working, but in an unbiased manner. So here's your messaging thread, and we'll open these up. Same keyboard, same size screen, you'd think it'd be the same experience. I'm experiencing some lag on the Lumia 928 keyboard. So for example, I'll say, hey there, how are you doing today? Thanks for the information. And it's just a little bit harder to type on, and it's always, it's always kind of hard to show this on camera, but let me do it over here, for example. Hey there, and actually let me turn the sound on so you can hear it. How it goes. And it's hard to explain it on here, but I will say, for whatever reason, the Lumia 920 is easier to type on. And from a just general perspective, that makes no sense because the screen sizes are exactly the same, or makes little sense, I should say. They're different builds of Windows Phone 8, but screen size is the same, keyboard's the same. Not sure why I'm experiencing some lag over here, but not on hello. Thanks for that. So every now and again, it works just fine, but I have experienced some lag in working with it. Take it with a grain of salt. Maybe you type differently than I do. Maybe you don't type as fast as I do. Maybe it won't bother you at all, but something I immediately noticed with this. Now, there are a ton of customization options as well. We'll talk about that in part 2, along with camera, speed tests, and then we'll declare a winner in the dogfight battle. So stay tuned for part 2 of the Lumia 928 versus 920 dogfight battle.